Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So a follow-up video to the first video that I made in the Salafi Strife series, which is talking about differences of opinion and understanding differences of opinion. The first note that I saw some people were talking about Imam an-Nawawi, and like personally I would think that this is a matter that has been finished, and like it's strange to see people talking about this still. But just so people understand, this area that he talks about is not an area where he's in a difference, where there's a difference of opinion with the rest of Ahl Sunnah. The areas of differences of opinion with Imam an-Nawawi, they are specific. In general, the areas are specific in Bab al-Sifat when it comes to the Sifatullah. And so when it comes to the characteristics of Allah, this is the issue where there's sometimes issues where he comes in and agrees with the Ash'ari point of view in that thing. And so that is strange. And like if you look at the books of like Ahl Sunnah, you'll find that they say Qala Imam an-Nawawi here, there, and there, and everywhere. So I assume that this is something that is not like some serious issue. But of course, like people that aren't aware of the contributions that certain people have made to Islam, then of course they will view that this is not a valid point of thing to talk about. Just strange. Anyway, so the second part is that occasionally there are things, and I pointed to this in the video, but there are occasionally people that will take this to an extreme. And so there's like two areas of Islam. There's one area of Islam where there's ijma' in areas. So this area is clear cut. There's ijma', and ijma' is that no one, in general, the usuli definition of ijma' is something that the whole ummah has agreed upon, and in a matter of the deen. So if the whole ummah, from the ulama, like from the people of ilm that are like in that particular, that are knowledgeable about that thing, that they have agreed about something, all of them, and not even one goes against them, then this is ijma'. Some of them said if one goes against it, then this person is thrown away, and there's still ijma'. There's still ijma' even though one person went against it. And some of them said, no, it's two. And so there's a difference of opinion of when does the ijma' actually come into a play in general. But the generally, the most of the ulama are upon the opinion that the ijma' actually comes in when the whole ummah, without any exception, has come together on a certain issue. And then ijma' is on like ala maratib. So like there's certain levels to ijma', and some of it's an ijma' that's clear, where there's no debating it. Whether it's clear in like the amount of people that have talked about this thing, and then there's also levels where it's clear in its wording, and then there's certain ijma' that come that are unclear in its wording. So like the wording that will come from maybe Ibn Mundir, he gave an ijma' in a certain issue, or Imam an-Nawawi talks about ijma', and these are like people that are known for giving ijma', as well as Ibn Rajab or Ibn Taymiyyah or Ibn Hazm. They'll give ijma' in an issue, and the wording they used, it can't be taken the same way that we would take the wording of the Sharia. So when we take wording of the Quran and Sunnah, we can look into the mafhum and mukhalifa, and we can look into a lot of the different things and extract rulings from this. But a lot of times the wording that ijma' comes to us, like you have to look at the surrounding evidences to see where's the actual ijma', because occasionally there's debate in this. In that area where there's debate and there's a lot of talk in there, this is also an area where there's ijtihad involved. And so this is also another area where you would say that this goes into the area of khilaf. So we have the two basic areas. We have the area where there's ijma', and then we have the area where there's ijtihad. And then there's a gray area in between this. And there's also an area where there's one or two people that went against everyone else. We don't say, and especially in these areas where one or two people went against everyone else, and they are on something that's very weak evidence. This is an area where, yes, you could say it's mukhtalifi, but you're not going to go and just let people run along and say, oh, there's a difference of opinion, do what you want in between that, and get a candy box of opinions and say pick whatever you want to choose. And this occasionally happens, and I ran across some of the things, and people say this, and say the example is music. they say, oh, music, there's ikhtilaf, and Ibn Hazm said that the ma'azif can be used in certain circumstances. But this is such a weak opinion that when you look into it, this is a very, very weak opinion. It's clear that it's a mistake. Anything that's clearly a mistake, then in this case, this goes out from the area of where we would say that you don't do inkar on it. If it's clearly mistaken, all of the ummah knows it's a mistake, then yes, the general people can do inkar on that thing if it's clearly a mistake, such as like music and whatnot. And this is something that and maybe in circumstances, maybe there's like it takes someone who's alim to point out why is this a very, very weak opinion. But occasionally there will be people that want to be moderate, and so by claiming this moderacy, they will open up like that candy box of fatwa, and they'll say pick and choose what you want. And this is a bad thing, because basically when somebody asks, is this halal or haram, they're asking for the hukm Allah. They're not asking for a grab box of options and choices to make. And so like I saw this, came across it yesterday with a prominent organization that says, oh, this difference of opinion, this is their dalil and this is their dalil, and nobody makes like no one does inkar on an issue that's mukhtalifi. And so like this ikhtilaf is very weak ikhtilaf, and it's a clear mistake. So in this case, there is inkar that's done in this issue. And if it's an issue that takes ijtihad and whatnot, then you leave this to the people that have done the ijtihad in that area and that know, and that can give that inkar ala basira, that they have that and with knowledge that they give that inkar on. So this is one side. And then the other side that I wanted to talk about is there is a common misconception that comes across, that is the usul ad-din. This is something, there's no room for ijtihad, or there's no room for ikhtilaf in this. And then when it comes to furu', then there is room for ikhtilaf. And this is a serious masala, and I will take this in the next video, inshallah.
فلذلك فادع واستقم كما أمرت ولا تتبع أهواءهم وقل آمنت بما أنزل الله من كتاب وأمرت لأعدل بينكم الله ربنا وربكم لنا أعمالنا ولكم أعمالكم لا حجة بيننا وبينكم الله يجمع بيننا وإليه المصير.